It's not just strategy. An edge in day trading thrives or dies by the trader behind it. Welcome to Trading Ascension, where the information guides you along the personal and spiritual growth journey toward profitable day trading. I'm Jason E., and in each episode, you'll discover practical self-development tools and transformative mindset practices to break through emotional blocks, mental noise, and self-sabotaging habits, so your mindset can finally support your edge. This show is for growth-minded day traders who want result-focused trading psychology and personal growth tools to sharpen their edge and decrease their emotional swings. If that's you, keep listening because... In today's episode, I want you to think about your next trading milestone. What are you trying to achieve right now? And then think about your ultimate trading goal, right? The big result that you dreamed about when you first started day trading. Now, I have a question for you. Do you have a clear, straight path to get there? If the answer is no, or you had to think about it too long, which is basically a no, that's okay. But imagine waking up and honestly thinking, I'm a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. Or I'm going to be on a new level before I go to bed tonight. You can take your trading improvement into your own hands, and you can do that by increasing your awareness in a few specific ways. And these ways let you go straight to the source of your trading mindset. This community is about the personal and spiritual growth journey of profitable day trading. And so we can't make that journey without the map. So today's episode is for the motivated trader who does a lot of trading related activity but isn't sure if they're actually getting closer to their goals, or for anyone who feels unclear about the actions that they're taking and don't know if they count as real progress as a trader. And this is also for the seekers, right? Who are here simply because they're seekers, right? I feel that. By the end of this episode, you'll understand where the source of trading improvement really lives. You're going to have a short list of simple actions that you can take every single day to improve your current situation as a day trader, and an easy way to track them. Because what you don't track, you can't grow. You'll know whether what you did that day has actually moved you closer to your trading future or not. Hello, I'm Jason E., and welcome to Season 10 of the Trading Ascension Podcast. Totally, this is episode 175. And here we tackle the personal and spiritual growth journey toward profitable day trading. You've probably seen that image of a miner, and they're digging like sideways into a hill, and he's walking away, and you can see that he's just feet away from gold, but he quit. And the lesson is usually like, don't give up, right? You never know what's going to happen. Don't give up. Keep going. But let's be real. When you're in the pain of losing and taking L's while you're chasing a goal, the real question becomes why? Why keep going? Why keep trading when I'm not making money? Why keep digging when I haven't hit pay dirt? And here's what I think. I think that miner didn't quit just because he hadn't found gold. I think he quit because he didn't know if he was making progress or not. And I think that's the same with traders. It's like fumbling for a light in a dark warehouse, right? You keep filling around, keep taking these swings, but is anything changing? And the truth is, people quit to escape the pain of feeling stuck, inadequate, or like that goal just isn't for them. But a trader who knows they're improving clearly, measurably, is way less likely to even consider quitting, even if they're not profitable yet. And none of us know exactly when trading will click for us, right? But here's what this podcast delivers: tools to measure your progress so you stay confident, and a rock solid mindset produced so you can keep going. Today, I'm going to give you the exact system, the straightest path to know you're getting better every single day. And more importantly than just holding off the urge to give up and quit is the lasting improvement that is actually getting you closer to your day trading goals. And here's what can help, right? If this speaks to you, if this is your type of information, today I'm going to share something that's going to be real special with you. And it's going to be the Trading Ascension Sprint Cycle. And this is a method, a system designed for incredible leaps toward your trading goals. And what is a sprint cycle? Well, it's a 30 to 90 day period where you commit to specific actions towards your trading goals. Now, most people say, I would go all in if I knew it would work. I would go all in and go all out, but I don't know what to do. A sprint cycle supports you figuring out what to do and then actually supporting you in doing it consistently. Like I said, I can't tell when you're going to, reach your trading goals and when it's going to click for you. I can't tell you the exact next steps to take from this podcast, right? Without having a two-way conversation. But I can tell you that these sprint cycles are going to guide you to discover it yourself by working directly with your own mind and then supporting you to take the action every single day. Now, if you're the type of person who can take a few simple actions every day for 30 days straight, you're going to separate yourself from the average trader and you're going to make massive strides towards your goal. No doubt about it. These aren't just ideas. This sprint cycle will solve real trading problems for you. I, for example, used to struggle with balancing life and trading. And sometimes it's just the mindset that we're in. It blocks the solution. And so after one sprint cycle, I just made a small schedule shift and it was hiding in plain sight the whole time. And it turned my chaotic mornings into calm, focused, stress-free time. Over trading haunted me for years. I knew better, but I couldn't stop. And one sprint cycle, it gave me the tools and I almost completely eliminated over trading and giving back profits, right? Still had to work on it a little bit after that, but bulk of the work was done. Risk management was another wall for me. I had stopped blowing accounts, but I would dig these holes so deep in the sessions that I was like, I'm probably going to blow it tomorrow or the next day, right? That emotional burn lasted days, sometimes weeks. Then I had a sprint cycle and a new tool, a new mindset, and that sprint cycle focus, and I was a different trader. And, and I was so different, right? It was a paradigm shift that we talk about here on the show. I was shocked to see that the problems that I'm looking at, I'm like, what? This used to paralyze me? They look small. And it's like when you're an adult and you're looking back and you're like, wait, what? I was afraid of the dark. I believed there was a monster under the bed. Sprint cycles changed my perspective completely. Those unsolvable issues became just hurdles that you could step over. And the shock came from seeing my past as a new person, because true transformation, it shifts your reference point. You break ties with old versions of yourself. And I remember thinking I'd overcome problems, but there was a looming cloud that still followed. You ever hit the charts thinking, dang, like this could be a good day, while deep down you're feeling like shit, everything might go wrong today, right? I might blow all these accounts today, right? It just looms over you. So the progress I'm talking about isn't just positive thinking. I discovered who you truly are isn't tied to short-term feelings. During one cycle, I hit, a peak trading result. And at the same time, it was confusing because I was feeling kind of shitty. Yet I was trading at a high level. I was following my plan. So short-term emotions don't control results, but they do over a long period of time. And it really comes down to being about alignment. I have to laugh when people judge others' success. Like some of the ones I hear, like, oh, this is a negative gangster rapper. How could he have millions, right? I'm a better person than that. Or, this morning, a woman on the Instagram, she was talking and she was really upset about Epstein. I can't think of the guy's name, but he's in the news everywhere. They're like really terrible guy. And he was talking about controlling his own reality and how successful he was at it. And, it has to let us know that it's not about just being a good person. As you close the gap daily with your best self, you'll see what truly matters in your own life, how you act, how you think. You're placing your power intentionally towards your goal. And day trading is the perfect vehicle for you to become the version of yourself that you want to do, that you want to be. And we'll talk about why. And it comes down to the nature of trading. Because we have to be clear on what trading really is. Because perspective is everything. I've had many guests on this show. I've met with many traders outside the show. And I always ask, what percentage of trading is psychology? Most say about 90%, right? The vast majority. No one's ever said anything below 60%. So we are all in an industry that we have to understand is a mental game. You click the mouse, you hit a few hotkeys, maybe tap a screen if you're, on mobile or something. But the physical requirements are almost nothing. You don't need to lift weights. You don't need to run laps. You don't need to be in, good cardiovascular shape to get better at trading. The real work happens in your thoughts, your emotions, and they manifest into your decisions. The future you, the trader who's consistently hitting their goals, is different mainly from you now on the inside. Especially when they're displaying what you think, how you feel, what you believe, and how you act under pressure. That's the difference. If tomorrow you had a stronger belief about yourself as a trader, more increased yet more genuine confidence, and you made better decisions while you were trading, you would automatically be in a better place than you were the day before. So improvement in trading, it's really about improving your ability to act in your own best interests, right? Which is a term that we use here often. The future self-trader version of you believes differently than you do now about their trading overall, about themselves, and they think differently in a way that makes them act differently than you do right now. So let's tie this back to the physical world. What that means is that you nail your entry based on your written plan, right? You adhere to that. You manage the trade exactly how the plan says. You exit the trade according to the plan, and you manage risk the way you designed your system to. All while having a vessel, right, your human body, that can hold the emotional upheaval so the nervous system doesn't get into fight or flight mode, right? Because fight or flight mode is when you get hijacked. I've heard traders call it tilt. And if you do that more often with a better inner state, your trading results will show improvement. So how do we approach becoming a great trader and a better version of ourselves? Well, it starts with taking back control over our attention. What are you focused on right now? Where is that powerful energy of yours locked in on? It's easy to get stuck in traps. And a lot of the time, these traps are because you're chasing what resonates with you right now, what feels comfortable, instead of what actually improves you. And this looks like, and I know from experience, it looks like gorging on, I blew my account videos and content. You ever find yourself drawn to click on the title that says, oh, biggest red day in history I had? I've caught myself doing that, especially early in my career, swimming in negativity, embracing the results of others that I didn't want. And content creators will say, I'm just doing this, expressing myself because you're not alone. Don't worry about it. But the truth is, a lot of them are venting. They're dissipating energy. They're chasing views. And this is what woke me up, right? As far as, seeking that content. I was in serious pain. I was having some trading issues. I clicked on a video. I'm like, this is going to be my solution. He's having the exact same problem. that I'm having. Had a pen, had a journal in hand. The video started with the pain. And the pain was worse than mine. I'm like, man, he's really going through it. Right. But it was relatable. So I watched. And he took me to this emotional and spiritual the pits of hell. I'm like, dang, I feel bad for him. And then the video ended. And the person was just venting, right? I felt used. I'm not the type of person who feels better because other people are doing worse, because I don't do a lot of comparing. So maybe someone would have been like, oh, he's worse than me, so I'm good. Not for me. It wasn't good, right? Now, I don't blame them. It's me. It's on me because I didn't protect my mental space. They didn't know how to channel that heavy emotion, so they wanted to make a video about it. Now, I've done shows on the second law of thermodynamics. So we talked about energy dissipation, right? How it's necessary, but how it's negative towards someone who wants to make quantum leaps. And that information is not for me. I want my attention on success, because where energy goes, results flow, and success shows. So what is your awareness on? Because where your awareness is a sign of what's coming. And I don't even mind fake success videos. There's a lot of those in the trading industry, right? And at least they're pointing to the right direction. You know that saying where they say, show me your top 5 friends and I'll show you your future. Well, I think there should be a saying that says, show me your YouTube trading video history and I'll show you your future in trading. And even when your favorite successful trader is reviewing other video, all of a sudden they're like giving content. The next thing you know, they're reviewing others who have blown their account or quitting. The trader watching that video is probably not in a good mental space, right? Because they're attracted to the opposite of their desire. And I've made this promise to you before, but this is a new season, right? So maybe you're new here. I promise I'll never leave you in a trading psychology dark place. We go deep into the pain of this path, right? We're honest with it, but we always come out the other side with tools and the motivation to keep going. I'm talking about mindset here when I say you're not a loser. Don't do what losers do, right? Don't focus on what losers focus on. Don't give them that space in your head. So here's how I approach this. There's 2 images that you need to start getting on the expedited scale towards improvement. And I want you to imagine a double pan balance beam, right? And this is a visual game changer. So picture that classic scale, right? The kind with 2 pans on each side. It's kind of like a seesaw. The heavier side goes down, the lighter side goes up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google French double pan balance scale, right? And it will show you a bunch of pictures and you'll see a scale on each side. And each side, I want you to imagine, as it relates to our trading, has a image, a picture. And let me explain what these images look like. And then we'll talk about, the focus action that you can take to place weight on the side of your best trading self. So each day, by putting the attention that you need on the right side, it's going to be the direct path towards improving your trading psychology and your results. Now, to be clear, for this conversation today, and I don't know if I've defined this before, I don't think so, but I want to talk about results as something that comes from actions, right? Your results are what you're able to produce as a human, right? And they produce an outcome, and an outcome is something we can't control, right? So actions are still under our control, right? So we focus on it. And then what happens next is an outcome. Outcomes are not in our control, so we detach from them. Control what you can actually control, right? So how I enter a trade is going to be a result of how I think. What happens in that trade is going to be an outcome. Right. So I hope that makes sense. Stick with me there because I'm going to stay rigid to how I define those, because words are important, especially when we're talking about trading psychology. So this is the start of setting up your sprint cycle. We need clarity on these images that are on each side of the scale. And there's two of them. The first image is you now. So if we took a picture of you when you took your last trade, that's image one. Now this just isn't a image of you, right? This image has assumptions. This picture has assuming factors of that moment right now, right? So it's you taking that last trade as well as a snapshot of what you believe about yourself at that moment, what you believe about your trading journey at that time, and your emotional ability to stick to your trading plan under the market's duress. All of that's in that picture, right? It's like if you look at a picture and you see yourself, you're like, oh yeah, I was sad on that day. So everything associated with how you were is this image one, and that's one side of the scale. Now the second picture is you, but this image is you already accomplished your trading goals, right? You're so accomplished on what you want now that you're setting new goals in the future, right? So whatever you're focused on now, you've accomplished that. If that is, you wanted to be funded, you're funded already. Consistently making XXX, you already have that. Your win percentage is this rate, you already have that in this second image. It's already accomplished. And the assumptions are that you have the beliefs about trading and yourself. Your actions and habits are all aligned with that successful version of you. So that's the goal. And the action is us merging into that version of you in a spiritual way, in a mental way, in a trading psychology way. So this means changing your beliefs, specifically beliefs about yourself, your trading, and altering your thoughts and actions towards that target. Now, the first step on this path is setting the GPS to the right destination, right? And that simply takes clarity. Now, clarity is the outcome of mental pondering. You have to spend time considering what it will take for you personally to be the best version of yourself as a day trader. So let's walk through it. Most people have no clue how to think from the place of being a person that has results that they don't have now. Like, how do I feel rich when I'm poor? How do I trade with confidence when I'm scared as hell, right? I think I'm going to lose forever. There's a statement that you hear in personal development, and it is that you have to be the change that you want to see. They also say be, do, have, which is a formula for manifesting earth results. You have to be the person who gets certain results. Only then can you do the actions from a place of energy that's going to produce those results, which means that you're taking action with that energy, right? And that perspective and the belief of that person, which results, right, in you being able to take action that leads to the outcome that you desire. So you're having the results of that vision, be, do, have. If you are following me so far, it's easy for you to see how slow and indirect other paths may be towards success in trading if you're not directly dealing with who you are in your state of being. And the main reason is you may not have clarity on who you are as a successful trader, right? You might just be filling in the dark, or you might be scattering your energy mostly on other things. And maybe like me, you're looking for a solution and then you get trapped in the problem on the hunt for that solution. Because, on social media, the loudest voices, the most clicked videos are usually others who are stuck in problems and becomes a stuck party. So what determines every day which image that you get to live? Well, it's determined by the person you most align with in your waking hours. Who do you act like most during the course of the day? The old version of you or the new version of you? Over the course of a week or a month? From whose perspective do you take in information? Right? Because it's useful for a trader who always wants to improve to stay in that mental state. Don't get stuck looking for answers. And we all get to choose daily. So consider it this way. If every day you got 24 marbles to place on the side of this scale, and again, the scale is an image on one side of the current version of you and the desired version of you. Every hour you get a marble to place on the scale, one per hour, right? On which image are you closely related to on most of the hours of your day? And you can judge this by your daily thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. Because those are the things that might be keeping you stuck or moving forward slowly. Einstein said that we are not able to solve problems on the same level of thinking that we created them. And then Wallace Wattles, in the Science of Being Rich, he was explaining that life is a sum of thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And he called this acting in a certain way. And that means for every life outcome on earth, there is a way to act and to think that reaches that result and that outcome. But we consistently are giving the same input into life, but we think the output should be different. You know, it's like if you were a computer, right? And you're experiencing the same programming and it's just repetitive, but you're expecting life to spit out a different result. Did you really do enough today for tomorrow to be different? Did you do enough yesterday to warrant a change in reality today? And you might say, well, I traded well yesterday. And then, but you went back to your old life routine for the other 21 hours of the day. And you think, well, tomorrow will be different. I'll be a new me. And it's like, yeah, right. And when this hit me, it woke me up, right? I had heard it before, but it was the repetition of hearing it one more time that kind of woke me up. And I started to think, okay, if I'm being equated to my results based on, what I did yesterday, this is going to directly impact all my life outcomes. So I need to change the input totally. I need new programming. So what can I do differently? Right? I start getting aggressive with what can I change? And I would change these desired results. And I started to think, what can I change, right? What can I do that's going to make this better outcome into the physical world? And I looked for anything to change, right? I was wanting to split from myself in this different timeline for I experimented for months. And I was like, okay, well, do I notice any change this next day if I brush my teeth with the other hand? What about changing this thought? What about eliminating that belief? This, that. Journaling. What changed? And because this community stands on the scientific method, I had this well-documented and replicable or repeatable results. And at this time, I was invested in that hypnosis coaching. I think I've mentioned that, but I'll go deep into that, but another story. But that was helping me reach these new depths in my mind, which I think kind of aided my research. So now I can share this with you, right? And I can save you thousands, so you don't have to really go down that route. So let's get started, right? With getting clear on who the successful version of you is, because this is the target and this is going to allow us to set up daily actions to get there on an expedited path, which nobody's talking about this. No one's doing this. It's going to be groundbreaking for you. So I suggest starting with a low hanging fruit, right? This is going to be like one of the first steps you do. And then we'll go into deep action for this. But the easiest way to start the merging into a successful trader is thinking about your trading big goal, right? What you started trading to be, right? Maybe that was a millionaire. Maybe it was an extra 600 a month. Think about that goal. See yourself doing whatever you think about once you have that goal. And then I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to write this down. What comes to mind as far as what that person is not doing? And I don't want you to filter this because it's a mental safety mechanism to autocorrect. Don't let yourself filter the truth. Take control of this exercise. You might say, I'd probably this is just an example. I'd probably stop smoking cigarettes, right? If I was a successful trader version of myself, because I only smoke now because it's of stress, right? I don't smoke cigarettes, but again, just an example. So before your habit mind says, oh, that's not even related, good traders can still smoke, blah, 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 write it down. Write it down. Trust what you think is real before justification. Think about things that align you with your highest self and don't need justification. Make a list of anything that you can think of that you do now that you don't think you would do once you reach a higher level or a new version of yourself. This is the low-hanging fruit. Those are things that you can start stopping immediately and start seeing improvements in your trading in your life. Now, by doing this and acting on it daily, you start to remove marbles from that side of the scale. And this is huge, right? Because you start to get these wins daily. And that's a great start. It helps gain momentum, helps get you into action fast, right? You can act on this immediately, but that's not enough to just remove the marbles from the old version side. You need a step that is deliberately placing marbles on the image of your future self, so it starts to become natural, acting like that person, following your trading plan, lowering emotional upheaval. And all of that will come easier on a daily basis by removing those, undesired actions, but also by starting with new actions. So let's list the steps, right? I'm going to walk you through them, and then we'll close this out because I know you're excited to get started. So step one is you get clarity on both images, or, what I'm talking about, sides of the scale. Step two is you're going to eliminate obvious actions that you're taking that aren't aligned with the version of you once you have those goals. And step three is you're going to take daily actions aligned with your goal, and then you're going to track those actions. Every day you wake up, you have a scale weighing the actions of your life based on your thoughts, your beliefs, and your decisions, how you're showing up. So to alter your current reality, you need to mentally, emotionally, and energetically outweigh the current version of yourself. And if you do it halfway, you're going to get snapped back. You ever had some great trading results and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I guess that was temporary. I'm back to the old version of me. You have 24 hours a day, and so does everyone else. And, of course we have to sleep. And I'll do this will that fit? Yeah. So this will fit into this show, right? I won't be able to fit everything here. We'll talk about some stuff next week. But at the end of this show, as a bonus, I'm going to tell you how to maximize the marbles of your sleep, right? So you're putting those on the scale of your desired results, right? I got you on that. I won't forget. So as I talk about this, it brings something to mind. Success is a path, not a destination. Every day you either show up with success-aligned thinking and action or you don't. So you could say, you had a successful day if you place more marbles on the goal side of your daily scale. That's a successful day. It also makes me think of, as I'm going through this, something that came to my mind. It was a few nights ago. I laid in bed and I thought you'll never become something imaginary, but you're very likely to become something imagined. The difference is imaginary isn't real, but the things we imagine are real because we know the brain has no mechanism to tell the difference between reality in the third dimension world and what it sees in mental images. We have to be the change that we want to see in our life. And the truth is, a lot of us aren't being the change. We're contemplating the change. We're, did I say contemplating? Yeah, we're contemplating the change. We're hoping for the change. We're wishing for the change. We're trying to change, an entire life with just a few hours of focus. And the energy just pulls us back into the old version of ourselves. So we've talked about the scale of your day, right? And that scale truly comes down to the versions of yourself you are identifying with. If you have a lack of clarity on your future self, it makes trading improvement very slow. And these exercises I'm going to give you will help you get on the path to clarity. And I said path of clarity because just like success, the clarity path is a journey to. Seeking a goal that you don't truly know takes a step-by-step approach. But this is what we know, right? Every culture, every ancient text, every religion says creation is done. So you aren't trying to create this reality, you're seeking it. And the best part about what you're seeking in this reality is that it's already within you, right? This is a self-exploration. Know thyself. So you're uncovering it with the light of your attention within the darkness of your inner vision. And so there's a gap between these two realities, right? Where you are now, what you want to be. And, earlier in the show, I said there was a gap. What is the gap? And the gap is the source of all trading problems. When your attention, your thoughts, and your beliefs are focused on the old version side of the scale, you get undesired results. When you don't know what you're focused on, by default, it goes to what you currently are, and you're going to get undesired results. But when you focus on being and doing from an already accomplished version of you, things like having a solid plan, adhering to your trading system rules, you start to close the gap and get better results. Better results come to make better outcomes. So the gap is focused attention. The difference between you and you killing it as a trader is focused attention, especially focused attention in the trading growth zone. The growth zone is where we take live trades. We do a lot of preparation and talk and contemplating and all of that, but it's all to prepare us for that moment when we're taking live trades. Understanding all growth must be realized in the live market is important because that's where growth is established. It's not time, right? The gap between you now and the future trader you want to be, it's not time. I hear traders saying, I traded for XXX and then I quit. And that's because they had the wrong expectation, right? If you wait long enough, will you reach success? No, not if you're not doing the right things. You can't wake up and just press a button with your eyes closed and do that for 10 years and think, I should be successful. So it's not time, at least not alone, right? Things are revealed over time, but it's not time alone. Is it information? Do you not know enough yet? Do you need more books, more YouTube videos? No, that's not it. It's not time. It's not knowledge. So you have to ask yourself, what is it? What is the gap between extremely profitable trader you and you right now? And I want you to think about this because this can reveal two important things within your psyche. So you ask yourself your question, write down the answers. And this is what it's going to reveal. One is your primary excuse. Whatever you said, I want you to think if it's a real hurdle or if there is a trader out there in the history of the market that has overcome that same challenge. It's possible for you. Chances are yes. Now, if you don't know if there's someone who's overcome your current situation, you should go find that person, right? You should look for true proof. You should search more deliberately on the content you're taking in. But I promise you, they're out there. What you think, what you feel about this gap can also expose a limitation in your thinking compared to reality. In reality, time isn't built into the nature of our existence. So change is instant in this realm. And here's the truth about change, right? It's a construct. Change itself is instant. And think about this, because this is something we talked about before, but I want this point to really land. Think about water turning into ice. It takes time to cool down, but the second it hits a freezing temperature, boom, frozen solid. And that's the same with boiling, right? The moment it hits that 212 degree threshold, liquid starts to boil, starts to become steam instantly. Your trading transformation, it's going to work the same way. The gap between you now and your future trading identity isn't a slow crawl. It's the space needed for you to install a preparation environment. A preparation environment is the conditions that force instant change. Just like water doesn't, gradually become ice. It hits a threshold, freezing temperature, and then it snaps. Your role as a day trader, seeking the next goal, is to cultivate those exact conditions that force you to become the second image version of you, right? The future self version of you that already has the next goal that you're seeking now. So there are environments that force change. And most of us are being shaped into something, but we can actually take control of what's shaping us. So we're going to use similar mechanisms to realize the changes that we want. And when I say environment, right, an environment of change, that doesn't just mean a physical environment. In this conversation, the environment is your state of being. That's how you think, how you feel, how you believe, how you act. And these things are going to impact you. So for ice, there's an environment called supercooling, right? Have you heard of that? And I won't go deep into it. We've talked about it before. Supercooling, right, is an environment that basically water gets to a state where it's super cool and it just takes one catalyst and all of a sudden instant freezing, right? And that can be introduction of a ice crystal. It can be a tapping on it, and it's almost magical. So we want to fill the gap between the images of where you are now and who you want to be with a super cooling process, right? So we can speed up your change. You still with me? Now, if you implement these actions, I suggest that you create your own super cooling process. And this is how you're going to do it. Because let me tell you why you should do it before we go into doing it. And we'll get right to it. The right conditions, when you hit that threshold, are going to transform you. And again, I don't know, when this is going to unlock for you. It could be the perfect setup, right? It could be a data-backed realization when you're studying. It could be a journal entry. And then boom, your new identity doesn't creep in. It snaps solid. So how do we fill the gap with a super cooling environment? And then when I say gap, that's the image of you now and the future image of you. How do you transform into the trader with the belief, the thoughts, and the actions of the version of you that already has the goal that you're currently seeking? Well, there's two paths, right? The wishful route of, full of hope, roundabout effort, thinking time is the key, thinking knowledge is the reason, trying to understand how the market moves, predict it days in advance, trying to gain more and more control over the uncontrollable. And route 2 is the direct path, intentional, confident, structured, focused on what you can actually control. And that's what we'll focus on today. So you're going to create these two images. These are our action steps. Action steps. Let's start with clarity on the future self. It starts with, for the sake of this, because I don't think we can talk about both. We'll see. It starts with a monetary goal. And in finance, what else could it start with? But a lot of times we get confused when it talks about the process over progress, and it just takes us out of wanting to set this goal. But I want you to become the trader that's capable of pulling X amount from the market. And I think that's a logical place to start. So there is a place where we want to build off of the goal that we're seeking. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get super clear on the future self. Because if you want to become a trader who's doing this, you have to be that trader, right? You have to be that trader in your emotions, your beliefs, and how you act. So it starts with the future image. And I want you to pick your next goal, right? And I want this to be a monthly income goal. So maybe it's 2K a month. Maybe it's the exact amount that it's going to quit your job with, right? Maybe it's the 70% win rate. Whatever it is, equate that your goal to a monthly income. And then we're going to work backwards. And we're going to work backwards to a daily outcome. Now, we're going to assume 100% winning rate, which is totally not realistic, right? But that perspective is needed for this exercise, right? So don't get caught up in arguing over the dumb stuff, right? Don't let the ego voice be like, oh, I'll never win perfect. We know no one's perfect. Everyone loses in trading. But I want you to set your goal up with this. What is your monthly income? And from that monthly income, I want you to think about, or just do the calculations. There's 20 to 21 average days a month, right? And so from whatever your monthly income is, I want you to break that down into what you would need to make every single day to reach that goal. Now, this is setting up the GPS here in this clarity. And again, there's the first image clarity, which is really important. But I think we should talk about that in the next episode. So once you've captured this picture of who you are as a trader, basically the goal that you want monthly, you're going to write that down and you're going to break it down into a daily goal. So let's make this tangible. Let's say your next goal is earning $1,500 a month, right? And you're trading the ES. That would be about 120, ticks a month. So that breaks down to roughly 6 ticks a day over 20 trading days. So this is your optimization box, your measurable foundation. That person right there is focused on, I need to be the trader that can make 6 ticks a day, every single day on my trading program, right? So this is real tangible on a performance goal. Now, again, of course, there's commissions, there's fees, but that's not the point here. We're setting up a baseline way to show up in a way to act as we go, as we seek improvement. Now, how does that version of you think? What emotions show up when they're trading, right? This is just a mental exercise that you want to do because that version of you emotionally and mentally, they're a little bit different, right? But they're able to take the amount of trades every single day that will reach your goal. And that's what you're seeking to merge the gap with. You want to be that person in all aspects. So we have to be self-persuaded. And what you're going to do in this sprint cycle is I have 5 conscious, actions that can help us move towards being that version of ourselves. So I'm going to say them and then I'm going to break them down. Right? So bear with me now. This is season 1. This is episode 1. And this is a big message. I'm trying to get it out. It will get better as the season goes on. It's been a while, right, since we met, but I hope you guys are following me here. The goal here in this example is a trader has a second image of making $1,500 a month. That's the goal example. And on top of what we do on the charts, closing this gap comes to closing their areas of thinking, being, and acting. So there's 5 things that in this 30-day sprint cycle that you want to do. And they're alignment questions. So what did I do to align today? Right? And they have some actions that they're doing to align with that goal. And then the second question is, and I'll do this for myself, what did I think today? Right? And this is, what you're taking part in as far as a thought of perspective of your future self. And then the next question is, what did I ask myself today? Right? What questions did I ask? And I didn't even know myself. What did I ask in general? And so these are asking questions from a future self perspective. What did I learn today? Did you learn something from that future self perspective? Right? Are you learning, or are you chasing the videos of, oh, so-and-so blew their account? Are you learning the next step from a higher perspective? And then the last question is, did I create space today? And create space is about emptying old thoughts. And this is an easy one, right? Because you can meditate, breathing. But let me go through this again, and I'm going to give some examples. The first question is, what did I think today? And let me grab my journal. I'm going to give you some examples here. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to just read out a few of these things. So I'm getting my journal. Here are some examples. The first question is, what did I do to align? And then you're going to write in your goal. So what did I do to align with my goal? Right? And we'll use the same example. What did I do to align with my $1,500 a month goal? Let me go through this and read this, then I'll get my examples from my journal. I want to tell you how to write these. This is important. So what did I do today to align with making $1,500 a month? What did I think today to align with my $100 or $1,500 a month goal? What did I ask today to align with my $1,500 a month goal? What did I learn today to align with my $1,500 a month goal? Did I create space today to create my $1,500 a month goal? And so here are some examples. So what did I do today to align with my goal? Right? And this is what I wrote here. It says, I read my value cards. And you may not know what that is. Value cards are an NLP version of like affirmations, right? Another day here, let me flip some pages. I said, what did I do to align today? I implemented short breaks in my trading to ensure I was emotionally stable, right? So those are actions I took so I could put marbles on the scale version of my future self. And then the next thing is, what did I think today to align to my goal? Well, today I thought about my system in place, right? The system's in place to help me reach my trading goal. So it looks like this day I might have did some revamping of my trading system. Here's another one. Let's see. What did I think? I looked over and revamped my pre-trading routine. I calibrated my risk management tool and the structure of this tool, right? So that's what I was thinking, right? So those are the thought exercises I did. What did I ask? Here's some examples of that. One day here, it says, when did I ask? How long are my best memories? How long are my best memories? Okay, I remember this. So let me explain this because I want you to borrow this one. The length of a positive memory and the perspective of a positive memory is embedded in its feeling. If you're trying to create a reality, you want let me take a step back. If you think about right now, the best memory you ever had, there's a certain length to that memory, right? It will run on loop, but it's a certain length. And there's also a certain perspective. Maybe you're seeing it from first person. Maybe you're seeing it from the corner of the room. And those two things are huge. So how you're seeing this memory and the length of that memory is exactly how you should visualize your future, because your mind already has established ways of associating with positive things. So if you visualize something positive and then you set up your visualization in the same way, it's going to have a better chance of landing in your subconscious mind, right? So I was asking myself in this quote here, or this journaling for this day, for the ask part, what is the length of my memory? I was doing some mental exercises there. I think I should talk about that. Maybe that'll be a whole nother show. A little bit further this month, it says, I looked at my actions and asked myself, what can I start and stop doing to align with my goal? So it looks like the beginning steps. I asked myself that again so I could start working on that low hanging fruit. What did I learn today? Let me look at a few of these. Here on one day, I wrote during, my trade review, I said I should not count a small break on my 3-bar rule before the EMA cross, right? So I was just making some little tinkering adjustments there. And then for creating space, the last one there, breathing exercises, meditation, anything that breaks the flow of thoughts of the old self. Maybe you walk, right? Anything to slow down the world and a break from the programming that you're currently running off of. So the sprint cycle promotes increased intimacy with who you need to be, right? It's ensuring that over the course of the day, you're taking certain actions that are from the place of being the change that you want to see. And it took a lot of creativity some days, right, to fill out these alignment sections. And that's a good sign because, you're going into unexplored territory. If it was just like, what do you have to do to be who you are? That would be easy to answer, right? They would come easy. But I had to spend time contemplating, like, what can I do today to be that version of myself? What can I ask myself today, right? What questions would I ask if I already had this amount of trading income, right? So I was carving out of the dark clarity on who I wanted to be. And I can promise you it pays off greatly. Now, of course, you need to take, actions inside of trading. But these areas are going to help you lock in behaviors that you can take into the market and function under duress. All the work is going to lead back to your belief about yourself as a trader and yourself as a person. Your focused attention and starting to log this, alignment and doing these questions daily, every day for 30 days, doing this, you're no doubt going to move forward. So let me recap, right? Because you have the results of a successful day trader on your radar. And this is your personal results, right? It's all different for us, whatever your personal goal is. And it sounds dumb, right? It's one of those things where if they clipped it, I would sound like a lunatic. But listen, to become a successful trader, you have to be a successful trader. It's silly not to understand and prioritize the reality of that statement. So the goal we talked about earlier comes in a few steps. Step 1 is you get clarity on both images or sides of the scale. We talked about the image 2. We're going to talk more about image 1 when we go through the success system generator there. But I want you to have this information so you can start taking action immediately. Now, step 2 is eliminating obvious actions, taking you away from the goal. That's the low-hanging fruit. That means you visualize who you are and you say, what is that person not doing that I'm doing right now? And you start eliminating that stuff. You start to close that gap immediately. You don't have to wait. And then step 3 is you take daily actions, align with your goal, and then you start tracking these actions, right? So you're going to answer these questions 30 day in the journal. And those questions of let me scroll back up so I can go in the same order in case you're taking notes here. Here we go. I'm all over the place in my notes. Okay, so what did I think today to align with the goal? What did I ask today to align with my goal? And then you're inserting your goal. What did I learn today? Did I create space today? Right? And then also, what did I do today? Which is the first one. And here's the bonus tip I talked about earlier. I don't want to forget this. You can have your mind work on these items while you sleep, which will place marbles on the success version of yourself for the 6, 5, 8, whatever hours that you sleep. Now, you do this by maximizing the last 10 to 20 minutes before you sleep and the first 10 to 20 minutes upon waking up. And all you have to do is contemplate the success version of yourself, right? You can see yourself talking about your setup. You can see yourself taking your setup. You can see yourself, if you have these goals of, spending your trading money, you can see yourself doing that. And if you just think about it, before you go to bed and when you wake up, you're going to have marbles for those hours there, and you can place those marbles in the right way. If you think that you'll have more freedom and you'll fish at the lake, visualize that before you fall asleep, right? And when you wake up. And those are going to put marbles on that side of the scale. Now, if you take this sprint cycle 30 days to align your actions and make sure that you're thinking from a higher perspective in those 5 different ways, you're going to see drastic improvement. And we're going to build on this idea and we're going to get more clarity on it. I'm going to get more clear on how I'm communicating this. I appreciate you staying with me here on episode 1 here on Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you for listening. If you need to go back to these sections, to re-listen, do that. Support at Trading Ascension is where you can reach me if you have questions. Have a great trading week. And here's to being the hero of your story.